I think I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, hey guys, yeah, welcome to another fantastic video where we're going to be talking about the secret ingredient. The secret ingredient is not so secret anymore. Look, I talk about this on my channel absolutely non-stop, and I have these tea towels to try and help you along your journey. This is not an ad, but basically I sell these and I sell that because vinegar, I think, is the secret weapon in food. We're going to talk about it very briefly, and then we're going to cook two dishes. We're going to do an orzo dish with some sausage. Oh, how do we use vinegar in that? Then we're going to do some roasted cherry toms with a yogurt. Exciting. Are you excited? I'm excited. Sour, I believe, is like the secret weapon that kind of people don't look at face forward when they're cooking. They kind of go, oh, make all the other things work, salty, spicy, bitter, but then sour is always the one that people tend to forget about. And this stuff doesn't have to be apple cider vinegar branded by Lagom chef. It can be any old vinegar. Plays a vital role. So let's go. Lemon tart. I know this isn't vinegar, but it's an example. Lemon tart, you've got the sourness, sour from the lemon, you've got the bitter from the lemon, and then you have sugar, which kind of balances all of those out. So you have the play of bitter, sour, and sweet. Wow, it makes sense. If we're gonna do, for example, what I'm gonna do here, so I'm gonna do a tomato sauce with cheese. Let's just say, for example, these are maybe a little bit acidic, so maybe sour, and then they've also got a touch of sweetness to it once you've done your job and you've made that sauce. And then you've got the cheese, which is a salty umami. Then a wonderful thing which a vinegar does is it elevates, or it balances out sweetness, and it works, it enhances things like saltiness, salty and umaminess. The other thing to remember before I crack on and start cooking, hot versus cold. When you use this, say for something like a dressing, like say you're doing like a Thai dressing and it's going to be nice and sharp, cold, fresh, that is going to be more of a pronounced flavour. So the sharpness is going to be there going, it's quite, always think of it as shapes, like. So when you start adding a bit of sugar or something to that thing, palm sugar or whatever, these little edges start to round off and it starts to become a harmonious, lovely, wonderful shape. When you put this into a dish that is warm, the flavour, the profiles of what's going to come through isn't going to be so like, and you're only using a little bit, but it's just going to play a little role, like I said, in sort of like rounding off these edges, but it's not going to be so pronounced, if that makes sense in your head. Does that make sense in your head? But honestly, think about dishes that you cook at home, taste them, and if anything ever tastes a little bit sort of like too sweet, or like you've done something that feels a little bit like bland, pinch of salt, little splash of vinegar, life carries on. Sorry, Francis. Put one of those things where it says you can fast forward through that bit if you don't really care, but you should watch that bit, you should care. If you like these things, don't forget to do the old like and subscribe and follow and all that kind of jazz. I'm teaching you how to cook and save the world by not wasting food. Right, we're gonna burn some cherry tomatoes. I say burn, it's gonna roast. Get back here, mate. A little bit of lube. This is just a bit of rapeseed and then some salt. Anyone can do that. In the oven, 180. Everything cooks at 180. Here I've got some wonderful orzo. I think it kind of makes you feel a little bit posh if you get orzo instead of pasta. People are like, oh, get some water. You're on. Right, so this tomato sauce, I should just stand still and do it while I'm standing still. This tomato sauce, I learned from my wonderful friend Tommaso. It's almost like what you're doing is you're using a technique called confit. So confit is cooking something in oil, right? So over a low temperature. But with this dish, all you want to do is give yourself a load of olive oil so that the tomatoes, can you see that, camera 55? The tomatoes are sitting under a layer of oil. All you're going to do, put down a low heat, probably about an hour, and it'll be wonderful. So in you go. Nice low heat. We just let that do its thing. It's easy, isn't it? Right, so then for a great little helping friend in the kitchen is a sausage. Sausage. Look, pop it out, little meatball. In you go. Oh. You pop this on the stove and give my hands a little wash and I'll be back. So I just drain, hey, welcome back. What up, Martin, I'm here. I just drained the orzo because I forgot about it. I let it overcook. Perfect. But one thing that we can do, a technique that I always talk about, blanch and refresh, okay? Drain your pasta or your water from your orzo and then you run it under the cold tap so that it basically stops the cooking process. It's on the edge, it's about to go. So what I'm gonna do, drain this, cold water and stop the cooking process, then we'll be back, okay? So my sausages, all I'm doing is just getting a little bit of colour on them This sauce, look at it, right? Time is your friend. Let this tickle away. All of that fat is kind of going to combine. So what's happening in tomatoes, this is not precise, 70% is water. So by doing this, you're kind of like evaporating that water, intensifying that flavour, and confying, like cooking the tomatoes at the same time. And you do get this unbelievably rich, delicious sauce. So let that carry on. Turn you down, stick you in the oven actually. So in here, look, these tomatoes, as you can see, all of that lube is leached out. Stick a little bit of balsamic in there. Now when I say a little bit, don't be shy, because balsamic is one of those ones, yes, it's a little bit acidic, but it depends which one you have, can be a little bit sweet as well. So people laugh at me when I say have a little taste. Gotta know what you're cooking with. I know what this one tastes like. Taste that. You could probably crack on with that and drink that on its own. Right, so pop this back in the oven. We're just gonna sort of let all that juice reduce down. Those tomatoes I kind of want to turn to absolutely nothing anyway, because we're gonna turn our attention to this little fruity soldier in a bit. So these things are tickling away. I'll be back in a bit, bye. Hey, I think I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. Things are gonna be almost done, but what I'm gonna do is just get a nice little topper going for the old orzo. Pine nuts, they're a bit bougie, aren't they? But they are a wonderful ingredient. As you can see, I'm going around grabbing everything with this because I've got so many pans in the oven, I don't trust myself. Okay, so this tomato sauce, what you'll see is you'll be like, oh, that's too fatty, but as you sort of like mix it all in, you'll just have this beautiful rich sauce. And trust me, I haven't done anything to this. Right, this is an absolute perfect example. These tomatoes, wherever they were, Aldi Doody special, they taste thin, right? You want something with a bit of to it. Start with salt, nice bit of salt, dissolve that in, have a little taste. Instantly changes it. A little bit of acidity, you could go balsamic on this one if you wanted to, but hashtag branding. It's got that body to it now. But to give it some extra body, I'm gonna grate my finger in. A little bit of Parmesan cheese. So something else that would be great in this would be like maybe a bit of feta. It kind of gives it that umami hit that you need, that little bit of roundness. Ooh, 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 ooh. Doesn't need loads, we're not making a cheese sauce. Just that sort of like little je ne sais. Look at that, instantly changed it. Oh, right, a little bit of salt, and we're in. Right, there's tomato sauce. You see that, camera 12? Oi! Beautifully balanced. A little bit of saltiness, a little bit of acidity, a little bit of umami. Wonderful. Ugh. As you can see, this lube here, all the liquid that's come out of the tomatoes has reduced down the balsamic and it's starting to create this like lovely stickiness. Keep that going. These are meatballs, we know what a meatball is, don't we? Right, so take a bit of your orzo, and then you take some of this sauce, and you just give that a nice little circle motions, forward, up, circle, 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 forward, 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 forward. Right, I'm gonna put that in the oven. Could do that on the stove, it doesn't need anything, I'm just trying to be a little bit tidy, he says. Right, so this is a little bit of fresh leaf parsley. I'm going to use it on both dishes because I haven't got any other herbs. This technique here, it's called a chiffonade if you ever wanted to know. Roll up the ingredients, keep them nice and tight, run your knife over it once, and you get a beautiful chiffonade. So, yogurt, honestly, if you, always with fire, you've got to give it a little whip and it'll go nice and creamy, especially the fatty one. Have a taste. And you go, it's nice. Get yourself just a little bit of normal salt. So think the yogurt is a little bit acidic, a little bit of a tang to it. So salt and tang work really well. Get all the salt with your finger for having a taste. Instantly lifts it. Nice glug of olive oil. And it's quite nice when this doesn't fully mix in. Think about olive oil, what is it? Has it got like that little bitter note to it? It rounds it, it gives you that bougie feel to it. So this dish, oh pine nuts. We're okay, we're okay. Pop those in there for a bit. Just think of the flavours, talk to yourself while you're doing it. Salty, almost like a labneh now. Creamy, a touch acidic. What's gonna go well with that? Something sweet, maybe something a little bit more acidic. And look at these. You could make these would be great when they're really cold as well. Little sweet, almost like acidic pops of yumminess. Right, a little bit of parsley on there. A little bit, puts loads on. Things that also are great just to keep around is some breadcrumbs. This is almost like a panzanella. So if you breadcrumb crunch, stick another bit of bougie oil on top. If you toast too many pine nuts, it doesn't matter. Save them for another day. Okay, look at that. Come on. You can't say that isn't a wonderful thing. Oh, this is roasting hot. Bit of parsley through there. You could even serve it in there like that. Oh, ooh, ooh. Big shout out to Harry, came and borrowed my studio. Left 4 plates. Thanks, mate. There you go. A little bit more on top. Think about it, a little bit of oil just to sort of make it look pretty. Bit of extra cheese, why not? Okay. I know I bang on about it, I feel like I'm repeating, but I think if you skipped to the end of this video and you didn't listen to any of it, then you wouldn't understand what's happened. These two dishes, the reason they work is because the harmony between everything, don't sound like a douche, but it's just because if you think, you know, like the acidic, salty yogurt is cold, balances well with hot, sweet, syrupy tomatoes. You've got the acidity from the balsamic, which is also a little bit sweet. Just talk about the ingredients in your head. And then you've got this lovely orzo dish, you know, the confit tomato base. Yeah, it takes a bit of time, but it's absolutely wonderful. Balanced with a little bit of vinegar, some salt, some umami from the parmesan. And then you've got the salty meatballs, you've got the orzo, which is gonna carry the flavor. It's gonna be so hot, but so delicious. It's just a well-balanced dish. It's not complicated. And then you got this, cold, hot. Oh man, look, that is an absolute mouthful. Man, come on. That is so good. I mean, serve it with a bit of crusty bread, for God's sake, but there you go. Look, ladies and gentlemen, there is another absolute belter for you. The secret ingredient in cooking for me is vinegar. Make sure you use it wisely. You can always add, but you can't take away. Add a little bit and taste. Register the change in what's going on. That is unbelievable. This is pretty special as well. Well done. Thanks again for coming along. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow and all that jazz. Thank you for coming. Love you all. Bye-bye.